So millions of Turks are casting their votes in local elections across the country. It's really being seen, though, as a referendum on the leadership of Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who has been campaigning heavily for his AK party. People are actually going out to choose mayors and councillors today. Crucial time for the Prime Minister, with Erdogan facing a number of corruption scandals over his policies. Now, we've had our eye on this shot here from a school in Istanbul, which is doubling as a polling station today. That is where Prime Minister Erdogan is expected to come to cast his ballot. We will bring you those pictures when they happen. But for now, let's talk to Omar Saleh. He is our correspondent live in Istanbul for us. It's one of those times, Omar, when the result of the election is perhaps not as important as it would usually be. Local elections is not something we usually get very excited about, but as we say, this is all about Prime Minister Erdogan and his AK party.
Absolutely, because the results of those polls will indicate the popularity of the ruling party and mainly the Prime Minister. It's like they call it here the polls of polls, especially with all the polarization and allegations of corruption that came into effect for the last several weeks or several months. And if you go back further, Kamal, to last summer, there was wide anti-government protests, the so-called Gezi protests. So now these elections are the first vote after all of those incidents. So that's why they are key to gauge the popularity of the ruling party, as well as the popularity of the opposition, who are trying to capitalize on all the corruption charges. They are accusing the Prime Minister of turning into a totalitarian leader.
Go back a step for me, Omar, and tell me about the actual popularity of Prime Minister Erdogan and the AK party, because it's easy to get caught up in the protests, which are very public and very much in your face. I'm interested to know what sort of support there is that remains for the AK party.
That's a tough one to answer, Kamal, because Turkey is heavily and deeply polarized and divided, and that has reflected on the polls. So it depends on which polls you follow. One of the polls for the last 48 hours was suggesting that the AK party enjoys about 46% of the votes, overall popularity percentage. However, when you speak to other pollsters, they say, well, no, they've lost all their popularity, especially after the corruption allegations. When you attend to rallies, for example, for the ruling party, you find a huge number of people, and the organizers will tell you we are enjoying wide support. When you attend opposition rallies, you see the numbers equally big, and they will tell you again that they enjoy popular support. In fact, the opposition are saying now, playing on a card, that the time for change has come to them. So now we have to wait and see for the results, and that could give us an indication.
Good stuff, Omar. We'll talk to you again later. Omar Saleh live in Istanbul on voting day there in local elections.